Hello, I'm Rodman Burfield, and for this evening's devotional, I'm happy to share with you one of my favorite verses, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 1 through 13. For April, just weeks following a celebration of Easter, we also have the chance to celebrate Earth Day and Administrative Professionals Day, and perhaps your school or nonprofit's chosen charity day or gift of giving day. It's no coincidence that they choose to have that in April. It's a well-known set of text that you hear in weddings and other celebrations, from FDR putting his hand on the Bible to take the inaugural, to being spoken by other presidents during their inaugural address. It's something that's very close and dear that everybody recognizes. Let me share it with you. And though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not love, I have become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so I could remove mountains and have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my gifts to feed the poor, and though I give my body to the burned and have not love, it profiteth me nothing. Love suffereth long and is kind. Love envieth not. Love vaunteth not itself. It is not puffed up. Doth not behave itself unseemly. Seeketh not its own. It's not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but in the truth. Beareth all things. Believeth all things. Hopeth all things. Endureth all things. Love never faileth. But whether there are prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there are languages, they shall cease. Whether there is knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we shall prophesy in part. But that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through the glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as I'm also known. And now abideth faith, hope, and love, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Throughout chapter 13, Apostle Paul has been contrasting the difference between the gifts of the Spirit and God's kind of love, agape. He has shown these gifts are temporary, yet love is eternal. In this passage, Paul adds faith and hope to the remaining nature of love. In other words, like love, they all also exist in heaven. Some folks have taken verses which are similar and lessened faith and hope as being inconsequential when compared to love. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Hebrews 11:6. And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists, that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Faith is also connected in hope. Romans 5:1-2. Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into the grace in which we now stand, and we boast in the hope and of the glory of God. And in our passage, Paul wasn't making a comparison to love to dismiss the importance of faith and hope, and his comments early in the chapter weren't meant to discredit those who were operating in these gifts. His sole purpose is to illustrate the value of love, not for us to minimize the importance of faith and hope, nor disregard the gifts of the Spirit. Now, analyzing those words may be like picking off the petals of a gorgeous flower, but review is necessary to see that, well, what is Paul saying here? We should remember that this chapter on love fits beautifully with what the apostle has been talking about in the previous section. In chapter 12, Paul talks about the gifts of the Spirit. Here in chapter 13, we come to the fruit of the Spirit. Paul has introduced it with a hint already that the fruit of the Spirit is far more important than the gifts of the Spirit. That we become loving people is far more important than whether we are active, busy people. Both are necessary, but one is greater than the other. Paul has said so. I will show you a still more excellent way. That is the way of love. Now, this chapter is setting forth the quality of love, which is the work of the Spirit of God within us, reproducing the character of Christ. Once we have love, all these other qualities that are part of the fruit of the Spirit are possible. If we have the love of God in our hearts, then we can be patient, we can be peaceful, we can be good, loving, faithful, gentle, and kind. The word love in the word love is not the Greek word eros that comes to be used to describe a lustful love, and the word here is not philia, which means affection or friendship. Paul is talking about agape, which is a commitment of the will to cherish and uphold another person, which is the word that is used to describe the love of God. It is the word addressed to the will. It is the decision that we make a commitment that we have launched upon to treat one another with concern and with care, with thoughtfulness, and to work for his or her best interests. That is that what love is that's what Paul is talking about. Love for God is not difficult because all we need to do is be aware of how he loves us. Above all, he has loved us, having redeemed us and forgiven us. Guilt is taken away. By these means, God has called us to himself and given us a standing before him as a son, to remember that all is that's stirred up with the love for God. Love is an extraordinary quality. Love can give this kind of love. God can give this kind of love. God can lead us and to make a choice to love someone and somebody who perhaps we may not even know personally. Yet that's what God's love is. That is what's so desperately needed, perhaps even right now and what's happening today, and so beautifully described here. It comes as we love God, and love is awakened within us. I offer this departing prayer. Dear Lord, I want faith and hope in my life. I want to trust you with great confidence and know that your plans for me are greater than anything I could imagine. I want to believe that you will never leave me or fail me. I want to live in assurance that I will see victories in the struggles I face today and tomorrow, and because you're there by my side. I want love in my life. I want to give love and receive love. Lord, help me to spread love freely and abundantly to my family and all that are within my circle. Lord, you are love. Let me be more like you, and so I may share my circle with the world. Jesus said, ask and you will receive. Lord, I'm asking for more faith, more hope, and more love. I pray in faith, hope, and love throughout my life, asking you to bless me with all three, and most of all, love. And Lord, if anyone is lacking any of these, help me to spread light. Help me to fill them with faith, fill them with hope, fill them with love. In Christ's name, amen. Peace and love be with you.